Have you ever experienced that you started to set an alarm at 7 a.m. in the morning only to wake up just at that time, just before your alarm goes off? That is how our inner alarm clock is set. And it can happen not only for 7 a.m., but 3 a.m. as well. In this episode, we're going to explore further how this happens and how to turn off that inner alarm so that you sleep through the night. Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician turned coach and educator. And in this episode of Frequently Asked Sleep Questions, we're going to look at a very common one, which is, why do I wake up at 3 a.m.? And of course, if you happen to wake up at 3:40 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 1, it applies to you as well. But the one we're going to work with is why do I wake up at 3 a.m.? And for this to make the most sense for you, we're going to break this class up into 3 sections. We're going to talk about natural sleep, because that's going to lead us to understand how the inner alarm clock is turned on at 3 a.m. And then we're going to see how we turn it off so we sleep through the night. Now, starting with the first section here on natural sleep, what I really want to convey to you is the following. All of us humans actually wake up several times per hour of sleep. If you look at EEG data, objective measure of any adult's sleep, you'll see this. You'll see evidence that we actually wake up many times per hour of sleep, which would, if we say that we sleep about 6 or 7 hours, we would actually wake up something like 25, 30 times per, in the entire night. And why do we do this? Well, it is because of safety reasons. We are a little bit vulnerable when we sleep, right? Our senses are not on, if you will. So we naturally wake up and just kind of turn around, scan the environment, make sure everything is safe. And then if we don't find anything remarkable, we fall back asleep and we don't remember having woken up, the next day. And this is why we actually have many, many awakenings as part of natural sleep. This will lead us to understand how the inner alarm clock can be set off at 3 a.m. Let's say we happen to wake up as part of this natural wake-up cycle. We naturally wake up around 3 a.m., but this time we happen to see the time and we're like, oh, it's 3 a.m. Why am I waking up? This is strange. This is unusual. At first, it may be, pretty innocent. We're just, taking note of this, but still, in our mind, this story has started to emerge here that something special happens at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is kind of, a little bit unusual, right? Which starts to set our circadian rhythm. And if it happens again, then we can become quite alarmed. We're like, oh, what's going on? I woke up at 3 a.m. again. And this is how that inner clock, inner circadian clock is set. And once that has happened, we have spontaneous awakenings around 3 a.m. and or we have awakenings that are part of this like natural sleep cycle around 3 a.m. But because they're at 3 a.m., we react to them, right? So we wake up, at 11:30, at 12, at 12:05, at 1. But we may even know that. We may even turn on and see the time. Okay, it's like it's 11:30, fall back asleep. But when we see the time and it's like it's 3 a.m., this is the awakening. This is odd. That's the one we react to. And therefore that one becomes reinforced. And we now have this cycle where we wake up at 3 a.m. and we react to it, reinforcing the circadian clock. And now this inner clock has been set. And now what happens is we don't have this kind of brief scanning arousal, nothing going on. We fall back asleep again. Now we actually stay awake for a longer period of time. And now we remember it the following day. We remember that we were awake at 3 a.m. So this is how the alarm is turned on. And of course, that leads us to the question of, okay, this has been going on. If you recognize yourself, yeah, this is happening. How do we turn it off? So this is the next section we look at, of course, turning it off. Now, what we want to do to turn off this inner alarm clock is to teach our brain that there's nothing remarkable, nothing special, nothing alarming happening at 3 a.m. And how can we do this? Well, there are 2 practical things here. First one is to be timeless at night. And when we say timeless, that just means we are unaware of the whatever the clock says at night. In this way, that reinforcement of the inner clock cannot happen. So in a way, turning off the inner clock is not so much about like actively turning something off. It's more about keeping it from being on. And we keep it from being on by not knowing the time, by not giving the brain a chance to be like, oh, something special is happening at 3 a.m. If it doesn't know what time it is, that can't happen. And also, if you're like not knowing what time it is, but you find yourself still like waking up and being up for a while, then what really helps is just to remind yourself that it is actually perfectly normal to be awake at night. That doesn't mean anything special, strange, or unusual is happening. And then you also teach your brain that, there's nothing going on at night that requires us to be awake for it. And when there's no inner alarm, you will still wake up. You'll still have those brief awakenings that we all have, but you won't remember them. And what you'll experience is sleeping through the night. Hope this made a lot of sense to you. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Hi, it's me, Daniel, and I hope you really found a lot of value in the video you just saw. Now I have a question for you. Did you hit the like button? Did you leave a comment? If not, then please consider that, because that is what leads to people finding us, finding peaceful sleep and peace of mind and feeling like themselves again, and all the other wonderful things that come from understanding what insomnia is really all about. So yes, just hit that like button, leave a comment, and that will help so much. Thank you.